Welcome to Pivoting to Web3 podcast, where experts break down AI, blockchain, and tech shaping our future. Welcome to an episode where I share the story behind pivoting to Web3 and how it came into existence, my why. Started this podcast, and I initially did the podcast because I thought it was important for everybody to understand the transformation technology that was going to take place, very similar to what took place in the 70s and in the 80s with Intel and that small little silicon chip that grew into what we now know today. That small little chip did a lot of advances in technology and was the foundation. So that's what's going to be similar to blockchain. And once I understood blockchain and learning about it and understanding that it was a transformation technology, this episode is going to really help you understand what was going on in my head to decide to do this. I thought the information that was out there was too complicated. It was too technical, and the average person wasn't going to be able to understand what the heck is really going on with real world applications where we live in the real world. So therefore, how does it change lives? How does it manage and help the underserved communities to help organizations or even have an ecosystem to be able to have an identity or even have some way to pay money to somebody or transfer value? This is all tied in, and I just thought it was really important that we know about it. So this was the genesis of my story of the why that you see in pivoting to Web3, pivoting portal, pivoting technology, pivoting. That's the only way to go through life and make sure that you are still learning at the same time. I found it very, very important that we look at this from a comprehensive standpoint. It was the comprehensive standpoint that intrigued me, that this was more than just a buzzword. It was more than just something that was coming here today and gone tomorrow. It's going to be a major, major shift, just like Intel was a major shift. Chips, computers, iPhones, smartphones, AI, everything is coming with a major shift, and blockchain economy is on its way. So with that said, I'm going to give you some use cases, what's taking place in other industries, sectors, for why it's important that we all pay attention to what's happening now. So let's move on. I first encountered the blockchain technology just like everybody else, skepticism. Skepticism was the main thing that really intrigued me to move forward and learn more. I was communicating with people that were very highbrow. They understood the information I didn't, and it wasn't making any sense. So I kept digging. You got to keep learning. You got to survive. And the only way I have survived through life with everything that was thrown at me is to make sure that I kept my head down, did good work, and kept learning. That's all I can say in navigating the cracks of life. Move between the cracks, whatever you got to do to survive and be able to learn and not worry about the change. So at the end of the day, here we are again, and not worrying about the change. I started pivoting to Web3. So it's not going to be just another bubble that's going to burst. So pay attention. At the end of the day, here we are with blockchain technology. It is going to be like the content economy we're in right now. There is going to be a blockchain economy. I'm going to try and have more guests that talk about blockchain in detail with successful use cases. But I'm going to share some with you now that we may pay attention to. So, ethics and governance, there are considerations when you're looking at the challenges that we have to address. There's no transformation technology or transformative technology that's going to be without challenges. And blockchain raises important questions without any consumption, privacy, governance, and that we need to address all of that very thoughtfully. But just because it's happening and it may be something that we're not used to, you just don't shut it down. The industry is rapidly developing in energy efficient consensus mechanisms, privacy preserving technologies that will build new blockchain protocols. We're not there yet. And privacy, well, we're not going to talk about that because it sounds like we may not have none for a minute. But at the end of the day, there are some governance models that are out there that are evolving and decentralized systems that remain accountable to their users. So just giving you a heads up, that might be coming. The challenges aren't reasons to avoid the technology. We got to keep moving forward. The future we are building is very important. So you might as well join the revolution in regards to the future that we're building in blockchain. Just as personal computers came and took over the decades and fully unfolded, The blockchain revolution is going to be here in its early stages. That's why I created Pivoting to Web3 as well. So the question on whether blockchain will transform our world, the matter of answer is yes, 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 yes. And there's going to be people who just going to sit back and observe, and there's going to be people that are going to join in the journey. So let's move on to serving underserved populations. Blockchain, financial inclusions. That's really taking place in some of the other countries where they don't even have identity. I didn't understand that, how somebody could not even have identity. But as I have lived long and live now, I am starting to see and understand there are many underserved, underprivileged populations that do not even have the ability to identify who they are. That was something I had to get my head wrapped around, and that's how blockchain helps again. So that gave me a real moral, ethical, human dignity reason to want to understand what was happening with blockchain. Domestic innovation in the United States, blockchain is already addressing identity theft and a problem which is costing Americans $8.8 billion in 2022, according to AARP. Social security numbers, birth certificates, other sensitive information, decentralization, blockchain ledgers. We can use some of this to really drop the percentages. But everything going on in today's world right now, who knows what's going to shift that around in a different way. But at least there may be something on the horizon from a technology standpoint that we may be able to utilize as an application to hold on to our privacy where we can. Financial inclusion globally, Nigeria, where many people lack access to traditional banking, as I mentioned, blockchain and financial services are providing savings accounts, loans, and insurance to millions of people. Small business owners in Lagos can now access credit based on transaction history, mobile money usage. There's a lot of benefits to this. Supporting displaced populations. Refugees around the world are using blockchain based on identity systems, maintain their credentials, and access services even when there are displacements from their home countries. So the UN World Food Program is a blockchain that they were using to distribute more efficiently and transparently. I can go on a little bit further with additional information, but the last thing I want to mention is when you're preserving cultural heritage, indigenous communities are using blockchain to protect their intellectual property and traditional knowledge, creating immutable records of their cultural heritage. These are just some of the uses. It's not prevalent, but these are just some of the use cases. So therefore, why am I sharing this with you? I'm going to try and start sliding back the curtain. I'm pivoting to Web3. I'm not going anywhere. We're not leaving. We're going to stay consistent with this. There's a lot of changes that have taken place. We've done some brand changes, as you've noticed, but we're really expanding with different alliances, looking at whole organizations, collaborations. And I just wanted to say hello and tell you why I really started this. It's a lot of work. And being an entrepreneur is nothing like being corporate. It's a lot of work, but I enjoy it. So in time, you'll be able to communicate with me, share your ideas, and please like and share, subscribe to YouTube and Pivoting to Web3 podcast. We're shaping tomorrow together, and I'm glad you're here. And I hope you appreciate this short episode on Donna Mitchell and why I started Pivoting to Web3 podcast. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Pivoting to Web3 podcast. If you're a developer, innovator, or AI expert with insights to share, or if you're looking to partner, let's connect. Visit MitchellUniversalNetwork.com and be part of the conversation. Want more content? Check out my playlist for more episodes. See you next time.